Hello and welcome to another Relationship Success Support Hangout. Our topic for today is sugar daddies, the phenomenon of young women or young adult women looking for older men to essentially financially look after them in exchange for all of the pros and cons that would come with a normal relationship, such as sex, talking with each other, and general companionship. So let us start off with opening up what is behind this particular phenomenon. Why do people choose to do this? So we've got with us tonight Valentine. Hi, Valentine.
Hi.
And Gabriel.
Hey.
Thank you guys for being here. Would either of you like to start us off with opening up this particular point?
Okay, so I have noticed the ads for this social network called Seeking Arrangement, and it was described how one woman there who was looking for sugar daddy managed to find her long-term relationship. So since I also started to date again recently, I wanted to check this website and see what is going on there, if I would be also able to find my true love. So I went there, created my profile, and checked who is there, and what actually is sugar daddy and sugar baby. So I found out that this website is intended for people who have a lot of money and who are able and willing to pay to some girl a lot of money. There are different ranges from several hundred euros to several thousand euros per month in order to receive their companion. And then some girls wanted to contact me, also found me on Facebook, and I started to research how come that they decided to go to this site and create a profile there. And there are different stories that I will be also sharing in the later conversation. But this is just for the overview of this concept. So there are sugar daddies who are willing to pay a lot of money, and sugar babies who want to offer themselves for exchange of the money, and each of the parties create a specific agreement, arrangement of exchange of services and money.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that explanation. Gabriel, would you like to add anything to our opening introduction?
Well, I believe that, as we were discussing, it relies a lot in the starting point of how it is used, who uses it, and for what purpose. I was reading a couple of stories of people who has been using the program, and one of them, a girl, shared that the main reason why she began to use it was because she was no longer able to afford the apartment and pay electricity and services and so on and so on. And she could not rely on the amount of money that she was earning. So by entering into this program and giving companionship to these men that were looking for companionship, she was able to afford like $4,000, $5,000, and you know that that she was very aware of the dangers within it, and that actually she was scared about using the program because she also was sharing about like a bad experience that she had, where in the second date that she had with a guy, well, the guy, like, you know, began to lick her ear and things like that, and it was like, you know, too disturbing for her, but she didn't stop using the program because it's something that she needs to be able to continue paying the university and so on. But and she was like constantly being asked about what she thought about the approach of the people who critique the program and say that it's you know, it's like prostitution and so on. And she said that she just tries like to put that judgments apart and, you know, just try to focus on what is really doing for herself. But at the very end, she wasn't like able to ground herself within it all. She didn't knew how to call it or how to see herself, because at the very end she knew that in whatever relationship she were in, there was implicitly the sex point, but she was trying to find for the men who are like using a profile like, I don't know, like more decent profiles, not only the men who are only searching for sex and things like that. So I believe that, I mean, this is not the only program that exists. There are many of them. You can just like surf in the internet and find lots of them. But at the very end, it is pretty much dependent on the starting point of the person who uses it. And there are both postures to in defense of it, or the, you know, the counter, yeah, the counterparty of it.
Cool. Yeah, I agree absolutely that there are multiple reasons for people doing this, and you'll probably see that the reasons are different for men compared to women, where women are generally, yes, they're looking for someone to look after them, and men are generally looking for someone who will be their companion in one way or another. And in a way, it is a business relationship. You could look at it that way. And yes, as you were saying, there are two very extreme opinions about it. One being that it's prostitution and it's immoral and it's degrading women, and the other one being that it's empowering women to be able to do whatever they would like to do for themselves, such as pay for studies and things like that. And it's their choice whether or however they are going to go about doing that for themselves. And of course, yes, within all of that, there's always that potential that there are going to be some people using these services who don't have intentions, who could actually pose a risk, be dangerous to whoever they're arranging to meet. And that is the risk that's involved, or probably one of the risks. And I'd say that the purpose of our discussion tonight is not to say that this way of meeting people and this way of trying to find relationships is right or wrong or good or bad. We are simply investigating what's involved, why is it happening, how can people support themselves within it, and how can it be used within the current world system as it is now? How can it be used in a way that there is actually a potential to meet someone who you would like to meet and who you would like to spend time with, rather than it being a purely business arrangement where you're offering services in exchange for payment, or you're paying for services that you're looking for. So one aspect that I'd like to go over relatively quickly is the aspect of physical appearances, because in the way that our society functions, it's generally accepted that most of the women on these sites, most successful women on these sites, are going to be physically attractive women. And how does this particular ideal of beauty play a role in how people are interacting with each other on these websites? So do either of you guys have a perspective to share on this?
Yeah, so I checked different profiles of the women there, and I noticed that some have little demand, low criteria. Actually, one is able to or must pick their level of money that they expect to receive for exchange of their companionship or whatever. And I noticed that there are like women from like third world countries who are not expecting to receive a lot of money, but there are also women who are looking more beautiful and are in the developed countries. They have higher standards and higher expectations and specific expectations what kind of relationships they want to engage in. So definitely there is a point of beauty and also the location, in what kind of situation currently the person is. Everyone is of course looking to improve situation, to travel to nicer locations, to find some guy who will treat them well and also pay them a lot of money. And when I also ask myself, would these girls change their way of searching for the guys if they themselves would have a lot of money? Some actually do not want this. Some girls do not want to do any kind of other businesses. They just want to do what they like very easy stuff and their hobbies and so on, and be a companion. And they expect for the men to take care of them, as financially, as in terms of treating them with respect and so on.
Thank you for sharing that. That aspect of some women are only interested in this when offered a way for them to support themselves. They choose not to. They choose instead this this arrangement, and that implies, of course, that their perception of it is that it is an easy way to make money, and because they're finding it easy, that also implies that they're not facing a lot of the conflict towards it, because when you're facing conflict within yourself towards a particular point, it's going to be difficult for you to do something. Conflicted about it, it becomes difficult. And some women experience this as an easy and an acceptable way to make money. And in the current way that the world functions, I don't necessarily disagree, because everything we're doing, in everything that we participate in the world, is a transaction. We are all paying each other for various services, and some services, such as in these particular arrangements, are just slightly unusual, and our societal perception of them is not as positive as with something like a grocery store. So that's a point to ponder. Now, would you like to add anything?
Well, I believe that we have like this new speech about sexual liberation and all these studies that have come from many researchers, like, I don't know, Desmond Morris, Christopher Ryan, I believe. Yeah, Christopher Ryan, that actually speak about the nature of our human sexuality, which is actually like, we are designed to have thousands of relationships throughout our lives. So all the speech around the monogamy, polygamy, and so on within relationships have come with this like this idea of how can you I believe that there is a collide of ideas here, from monogamy, polygamy, and whenever money is implied in something, I believe that it will be in some way or another critiqued by the posture in which it relies on. As I was sharing with you a debate that I was like searching, and there is like this guy who is using this program, and there is like the other posture. I believe that it's a feminist or something like that, and they are saying, and I quote, "These young women are not anyone's slaves. They are autonomous, sexually liberated women. Many of them came from elite universities. They are smart people making a calculation about what their time and their attentions are worth. Isn't that what everyone does when they sell out and turn their labor, their intelligence, their special skills, their charming personalities, their diligence, their emotions, their time, their ambitions, all for someone else's projects? That is what having a job is. It's not always fun." And the girl responds, "But this is sex. It should not be a job." And the guy answers, "And why not? What makes it so holy that it can never be something done for anything but the highest and most personal self-satisfaction and self-realization? We live in an age of birth control, condoms, and desmythification of sacred things. Why is sex still being put into this realm of things which cannot be commodified without destroying the dignity of the sex worker? Why do we think that when it comes to sex, putting your talents to use in order to gain money somehow exploits and degrades people, whereas all sorts of other places where we subordinate our personalities and talents to earning a buck are perfectly fine?" And she answers, "This is not about these girls exercising their talents for a profit. It's about reducing them to toys and about turning a deeply intimate, self-expressive act like sex into something where their personalities do not matter." So, and the debate goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. But I believe that, and I insist, whenever money is implied on this in this exchange of, or sex, for example, it will always be criticized as sexual exploitation, and at the same time we cannot like deviate our attention from the fact that many of these women are going into this program because they are searching for money. So we have a capitalist system which is not like giving the support inequality to all the human beings. I mean, it would be very interesting to see what happens if such support were given to everyone, and then see what would be of these programs, what would happen to these programs if they will still run, and under what conditions.
Yeah, I agree with you, absolutely. That would be a very interesting thing to see, because so much of our lives is run by money. And in this particular case, you could say that money is part of the defining factor of why these arrangements exist in the first place. If you remove money, the need or the desire for money, would these things exist at all? Obviously, we wouldn't know until we actually were to change the way that we live, but it's a very interesting question and a very relevant question, because it brings in a lot of questions that link into the value of our lives, the value of our time, of our skills, of our personal integrity, if you'd like to put it that way. And yes, absolutely, these kinds of arrangements challenge a lot of perceptions and challenge a lot of social taboos. And yes, definitely, it's one of those arguments that can literally go on to the end of time, and both sides of the argument will have relevant, valid points, and you're probably always going to have a divided consensus around it, because, well, essentially because of how our minds are designed at the moment, which is to look at things from the perspective of our personal opinions rather than looking at things from the perspective of, okay, why does it exist? Why are people doing it? How can people be supported within it? Is it in fact a supportive arrangement, or is it a abusive one? Is it acceptable? Free choice? I mean, these are all the sorts of questions that we should be asking in HR. So, let's move on to the next point. Valentin, you mentioned earlier that you might share some examples of women that, or stories that you'd heard as well. Would you like to do that now?
Yes, and firstly, I would like to ask Gabriel to mute yourself, because we are receiving echo from your side.
You're getting a bit of feedback. Could you turn your volume of your speakers down?
Gabriel, could you mute yourself, Gabriel?
Excuse me?
Could you mute yourself? Turn your microphone off.
Oh, okay.
We are receiving echo from your side. Okay. So I actually already shared a few points that I wanted to share. So definitely there are different expectations from the girls there. Some are actually looking for a long-term relationship. Some are just looking for high-end society. Many girls are expecting that they will find their rich people, which are mostly businessmen, and that they expect not just to receive money, and but actually to mingle amongst the successful people, and also maybe learn something from them and enjoy this high-class society. And of course, there is danger from both sides. There can be exploitation from side of the girls there. For example, I noticed that one girl did not put her own pictures, but I don't know if there was just some pictures of her there, but definitely there were some photos of celebrities, so she pretended to be someone that she is not. So from the men who are seeking companion there is a deception from the side of the girls who are not honest or who want to exploit people, saying, okay, you send me money and I will come to your place, or buy me a plane ticket, and so on. So when one sends money, there can be a possibility of fraud, that there is not actually this woman on the other side that is presenting herself through that profile. And there is also a danger of the girls being exploited by the men, because there is a lot of sex slavery. Many young, beautiful women have been kidnapped and converted to sex slaves. This is still happening. So there is danger of also some men presenting themselves as someone who is honest, who want to treat them well, pay for their airplane tickets, and when the woman comes to visit, they kidnap her and exploit her. But of course, this website is not something special in that terms. There is a danger or any dating website. So it would be nice to consider how can we change our society so that firstly the money will not be problem anymore, and then the main motivator for someone who is without money and who is not able to earn money to look for someone who will be willing to pay her for her survival and so on. And then how we can also change the dating system, the matching system, to be more like sincere, respectful, so that one would be going to that website. Like I find one that is really like trying to match partners based on the psychological research. What are the key factors for long-term successful relationship? This website is called eHarmony, and I also went there and created my profile. And there is a lot of questions, so that you are profiled very deeply. And I think that each one of us wants some partner that we will be able to live happily forever after, and it is quite challenging to find such a partner. So I was also considering to eventually create some kind of online dating service for myself in order to decide offering the best matching services possible for the starting point of finding a true partner for a long-term relationship.
I absolutely agree with you. Dating is a bit of an issue at the moment. for so many people, and a lot of people are using online dating services to try and find someone that they can develop a relationship with. So you've got the dynamic of feeling like you're unable to meet someone who would be compatible with you for whatever reason. You might be shy, or you might not be going to all the right places, for example. You might be looking for people in the wrong places. And this actually opens up the point of why the older men are using these services. And in some cases, I would imagine that they're using these services because they, for whatever reason, have been unable to develop relationships within their personal lives. For example, a widower whose wife has passed away, he's all alone. He doesn't know how to socialize anymore because, let's say he's been married for 30 years and he's looking for someone just to keep him company, and he comes across a site like this and figures, why not? Because it cuts out the very long and very tedious process of meeting someone, figuring out if they like you, figuring out if you like them, figuring out if you're compatible with this and that, and it's like this dance that you do around each other until eventually you kind of eke out a general answer of maybe this can work, or okay, no, this person is not for me. Gabriel, would you like to add anything to this particular point?
Yeah, I was thinking, as Valentin was sharing about the point of the sexual exploitation that takes place within these kind of programs, and there was a hypothetical situation which was like shared to us when I was studying laws, and this was, let's say that I am an artist, and I pay to a girl to make her a body paint. Okay, so I make the body paint. I already paid to the girl, and now I say, and I tell to the girl, okay, now you have to walk to the street completely naked as you are, with the body paint and so on, because I already paid you. And she refused to go out because, I mean, at the very end she's naked and she don't want to do it. And I get angry and I tell her, oh, but I already paid you, You cannot refuse to go out when I already made the body paint, and you are supposed to go out to be taken in the photos and pictures and so on and so on. And the teacher told us that if we were to push this girl to go out, that would be a case of sexual exploitation, because at the very end is her body. I mean, yes, the artwork that I made is mine, but it's her body. So now let's take a hypothetical situation in this program. Let's say that a guy in one country pays to a girl airplane ticket, and she flies to one country, from one country to the other. But at the very end, even if she was already being paid the airplane ticket and the hotels and whatever, and she decides at the very end to not present with this guy, I mean, he would have to accept and is not able to demand from the girl that now she owns him something, that she is in debt of something, because that would be really the case of sexual exploitation. Now, the reason why I say this is because taking again the example that I shared in the beginning, this girl that, in spite of this bad experience that she had with this guy that tried to you know, that turned like very like sexually aggressive with her, and even in spite that she was disturbed by the event, she could not. I mean, she decided to not see this guy anymore, but she was not able to go out of the program because she felt forced to continue searching for that income. So I believe that the point of where we see this this link or this relationship to sexual exploitation comes when a human being is not supported unconditionally by a system that actually force them into going into all types of jobs. And I mean, I am not speaking any longer about these programs. I am speaking about any kind of jobs where the people is really putting their integrity into risk to make an income. I mean, why we don't see also that as a way of prostitution, you know, where the human being is placing in risk it's in his integrity, her integrity, in order to make an income, whatever job it is. Why is that not being seen as prostitution, as sexual exploitation? It's your body, but someone else is paying you, you know, something that you need. This symbol that we have used to make a manipulation of other human beings to be able to live. That's how I will see it or approach it.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I do tend to agree with that similarity between prostitution and, yes, we're all essentially prostituting ourselves in order to survive, because how many people actually enjoy the work that they do, and how many people are receiving enough of an income to live comfortably from doing something that may put their life at risk or may put them at risk of being hurt in some way. But that is a conversation for another time. At the moment, we are pretty much at the end. So let us wrap up and go through our closing statements and offer any support to people who are participating in these kinds of arrangements or who are considering doing it, so that if you're going to be doing something like that, at least you are being as safe as you possibly can be, and you have made the choice within yourself clearly so that you will at least not be conflicted within it. So, do either of you have any advice to offer to someone who is busy using or who would like to use a service like this, male or female?
Yeah. Firstly, Gabriel, could you mute yourself again, please? Thank you. So the point about dating and this arrangement is for both parties to be satisfied. So it is important for both sides to say what they expect, so that there is not misunderstanding about expectations. And of course, generally, when dating and engaging in relationships, the point of abuse is usually the consequence of energy addiction, of not taking control of your mind, of your thoughts, of your desires, and then it develops into an obsession. And this obsession, this desire, drives you into doing some things where you hurt others. So I would suggest everyone to engage in online course. Maybe Cerise will share it, the details, but we have awesome online courses where everyone can find out how the sexual energy works, how relationships work, all the details, so that one can master themselves, control their desires, and to be able to engage in relationships with others as equals, as with mutual respect, and be able to openly communicate, to share their desires, and this is the way where both parties can at the end be satisfied, and where these relationships can be fulfilling and successful and having long-term possibility.
Cool, thanks. And yes, I will share those links in the description. I did notice that we don't have a Q&A section activated, so I apologize for that. If any viewers have any comments or questions, please post it on the YouTube video, and I will respond to them, as well as the other team members. So, Gabriel, would you like to add any closing statements or suggestions?
I believe that we always try to approach every kind of relationship according to certain values. In this particular subject that we have discussed, we have like given the focus on the market value of the body, for instance, and how the persons will use that, and will use the man, for instance, and their market value is their money. So I believe that if we have a sincere look to how we have existed as humanity throughout all of our existence, all the civilization, that point has always been implicit within relationships. Call it the man searching for the market value of the woman, or I mean, even it could be the other way around, where the woman is now paying the services of the man, and so on and so on, searching for that support. I believe that we cannot like pull apart the fact that the money and relationships are intrinsically something that is dependent on each other, because at the very end, if you go into a traditional relationship, you have to have money, because you are going to have to pay, even if it's a date or a meal or whatever, you need money. So money and relationships are like always have been part of this dynamic. So I believe that when we see these programs, it's simply a reflection of, how it has worked for all our existence as humanity. I believe, and just to remark the point that we have been like repeating over and over again around the Hangout, that it would be very interesting to see what happens when all the human beings are provided with a living income unconditionally. What would happen? What our relationships would look like? That's what I have to say.
Cool, thanks. So I would like to point that you are considering an arrangement like this, or you currently are in one. Obviously, your safety always comes first. Whether you're the man or the woman, you're the one doing the seeking for a partner, or you are looking for someone to look after you. make sure that you're safe as best you can. The mistake that we often make is judging the things that we do in order to survive as being right or wrong. And this creates a lot of inner conflict. It creates a lot of emotional turmoil. And the fact is that we live in a world in which most people are doing things that they don't want to do to survive. Now, I'm not condoning or promoting this arrangement. I'm simply showing that if someone is considering doing something like this, or is currently doing something like this, at the very least, you can support yourself to do it within a starting point of clarity and come to make the choice of doing it, knowing that you can stand by your choice. And it's not something that you're doing that's going to cause you a lot of emotional turmoil in the future. So you need to be willing and able to live that choice, because you are, in the end, the one who is going to be living with it. So that's it for this hangout. Thank you everyone for watching. Thanks guys for participating and opening the point up. We will be doing another relationship success support hangout in the first week of May if everything goes to plan. And the topic for that one is going to be relationship personality. So if you are interested in participating, please do let me know. Otherwise, you are welcome to watch. The details will be released closer to the time. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, guys. Good night. Good night.
Thank you, Cerise. Thank you, Valentin.
It was my pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.